Hello there, everybody. Good morning. We're taking a look today at 2 Chronicles 9, and this goes through the end of King Solomon's life, and it goes through the death of Solomon and stuff like that. And we see that he has amassed great wealth, to the point where even here in verse 20, at the end of verse 20, it says that not one was silver, for this was accounted as nothing in the days of Solomon, that even silver wasn't worth anything, that he was so wealthy that his cups were gold. He was so wealthy. I mean, you go and you read through this, and you're just like, my jaw dropped at some of, the wealth that this man amassed, and how God just blessed him and blessed him and blessed him. And so, as we're looking at his death, and we see all these wonderful things that happened in his life, I want to go back a few chapters, go back to chapter 1, and I want to take a look at when Solomon's reign began, and I want to look at that again, and I want to look at what we talked about then. It was chapter 1, it was verse 10. Solomon, God says, what is it you want, and I will grant it to you. And God says, and Solomon says, now give me wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this great people of yours? You see, Solomon lived his life, and now that we've got to, the 9 chapters, we got to see Solomon, we got to see all this wonderful stuff that he accomplished, and building the temple for the ark, building the temple for God, and just all of these wonderful things. We got to see it, and how he amassed great riches, how he was known. Queen Sheba came from a foreign land. Don't remember where she came from, but she came from a foreign land because she heard of his wisdom. And when she got there, she said, oh, I didn't even hear half of what just came out of your mouth. She said, you are very wise. And so Solomon asked for wisdom. And in that, when he said, actually, his desire for wisdom was actually a very wise thing, because he says, well, who can judge this great people of yours? You see, Solomon knew that these people that he was to govern were not his people, they were God's. And if we, Christians, could get a hold of these people that God puts us in contact with, they're not ours, they're his. Your spouse is not yours, it's God's. Your children are not yours, they're God's. Your friends, your family are not yours, they're God's. You see, God gives you these people, he puts you in this circle of influence, because he's hoping that you will do as Solomon and say, Lord, give me the wisdom to get to these people of yours. You see, when we begin thinking me, I, we begin moving away from what God wants to accomplish. When we begin looking at things as what we see, what we want to accomplish, we move away from where God wants us to be. You see, Solomon understood this. Solomon understood that God has something he wants to accomplish. And he said, God, give me the wisdom to accomplish what is yours. Folks, we need to pray for that. We need to pray for the wisdom to accomplish what is his. We need to pray for the wisdom to speak to those that are his. We need to pray for the wisdom to lead those that are his. Our life should be his. It should not be our own. He wants us to have fun. He wants us to enjoy this. He wants us to show our personality. But more than anything, he wants a relationship with us, and he wants us to show that relationship with his people that he puts in our circle of influence. I'm a failure at that. I have been. For certain people in my circle of influence, I have been a failure at looking at them as gods. And I have looked at them as my this, my that. That needs to change here first. And I pray that you will look, and if there's any people in your circle of influence that you look at as yours first and God second, that the Lord will change that. I pray that he will change that in me. Folks, I love you all. I hope you have a super day.